The ATP just sent Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner a financial warning that's backfiring spectacularly. Both players are being penalized for missing Masters 1000 tournaments, losing massive bonuses despite dominating the 2025 season. Alcaraz finished as world number 1 but lost half his Christmas bonus. Now both players are heading into the Australian Open, motivated by something beyond just winning, proving the ATP's punishment system is broken. The regret from tennis officials is starting to show. Here's my question for you. Should the ATP really be punishing their two biggest stars for missing tournaments when they're the main reason anyone's watching? Sound off below. The ATP has a bonus system designed to incentivize players to show up at all the Masters 1000 tournaments throughout the year. Play them all, get a big bonus. Miss some, lose a chunk of that bonus. Simple enough in theory. In practice, it's created a situation where Carlos Alcaraz, who finished 2025 as world number 1, lost half of what's being called his Christmas bonus because he couldn't play every single Masters 1000 event. The numbers are significant. Alcaraz would have been entitled to $4.88 million if he'd played all the Masters 1000 tournaments. But the rule dictates this reward is reduced by 25% for each Masters 1000 not played due to withdrawal or injury. So by missing multiple events, whether due to injury or scheduling decisions, Alcaraz forfeited roughly half of that bonus. Let's be clear about what happened in 2025. Alcaraz played in 11 finals. 11. He won multiple Grand Slams. He finished as world number 1. He was one half of the rivalry that defined men's tennis this year. And the ATP's response to this incredible season is essentially, yeah, but you didn't show up to all our Masters 1000 events, so we're docking your pay. The same system applies to Jannik Sinner, who had arguably an even better year statistically. Sinner won 2 Grand Slams, won the ATP Finals, and fought for world number 1 until the very end of the season. He dominated like few players have in recent years. And he's also facing financial penalties for not playing every Masters 1000 tournament. This is where the ATP's instant regret comes in. Because heading into the Australian Open, both Alcaraz and Sinner now have an extra motivation beyond just winning the tournament. They're playing with a chip on their shoulder about being penalized financially despite being the two players carrying men's tennis right now. Australian players are already sensing an opportunity. Nick Kyrgios has resumed activity after months on the sidelines with the firm intention of returning to play regularly. Alex de Minaur, ranked world number 7 and an ATP Finals semi-finalist, is preparing conscientiously to try to end the Alcaraz-Sinner reign. At least that's how he made it clear in his latest interview with Tennis 365. When people compare Alcaraz and Sinner to the big three, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, some miss that third figure to complete the rivalry. De Minaur wants to put himself forward as that third element. It's not easy at all, but in the end, we don't want there to always be two players who win all the big tournaments. As competitors, we don't like losing, and we have to make the maximum effort to compete with them. De Minaur specifically praised Sinner's consistency. One of Jannik's greatest virtues is his level, which never fluctuates day after day. It's one of the most impressive things, both at a tennis level and mentally. A lot has happened this year, and it hasn't affected him mentally. He's referring to Sinner's doping controversy and other challenges throughout 2025. Despite all that external noise, Sinner maintained his level and won consistently. De Minaur pointed to Sinner's mental resilience after losing to Alcaraz at the French Open. At Roland Garros, he was 2 sets to 1 up. He had match points and he lost. It was an incredible match, and then he managed to repeat it at Wimbledon. The ability to bounce back from that Roland Garros disappointment and play the way he did to win Wimbledon impressed de Minaur. It's almost as if those difficult moments hadn't affected him. They bounce off him. They stay outside the following week, and that's admirable. De Minaur's goal is clear. You have to play very good tennis from the first point to the last. That's my goal. They are at the top of our game. They have dominated the last 2 years, and the goal is to keep improving and make life difficult for them. Alexander Zverev tried to break into that top tier, but his attempt was short-lived. Even so, the German remains third in the rankings while Djokovic sits fourth, despite following a very reduced schedule. The Australian Open represents the first major opportunity of 2026 for someone to disrupt the Alcaraz-Sinner duopoly. Meanwhile, de Minaur is keeping sharp by playing exhibitions. He just won a tournament organized by Mouratoglou in London, part of the Ultimate Tennis Showdown series with modified rules. He took home $640,000 for 3 days competing on British soil. Not bad for an exhibition event. But the real story heading into the Australian Open is the Alcaraz-Sinner rivalry and how the ATP's financial penalties might actually be motivating both players even more. Both gave a joint interview to Tennis Korea promoting their exhibition match in Seoul on January 10th, 8 days before the Australian Open starts. Sinner said, "This match is a great opportunity not only for me but also for Carlos. The simple fact of being able to play tennis in front of Korean fans is incredibly special. Another great reason is that I can regain my rhythm at least once before the Australian Open. Getting the rhythm and the feeling for the game back on court helps me tremendously in my preparation for the season." Alcaraz talked about their rivalry in terms that show he understands its significance. "This comparison is a real honor for me as a player. I think it means a lot that tennis fans feel the same when watching our matches. Rivalries in sport are a powerful aspect that fuels fans' interest. I was also very inspired by the rivalry between Rafa Nadal and Roger Federer during my childhood." He continued, "Jannik and I have already faced each other on many big stages and have played intense matches. We have faced each other in several Grand Slam finals, and I think we strengthen each other. With a long career ahead, I hope we can continue with this positive rivalry that will help us grow together." Sinner echoed similar sentiments. "Rivalries are a fundamental part of our sport. In their era, there were great rivalries between Roger Federer, Rafa Nadal, Novak Djokovic, and Andy Murray, and that trend has been maintained through generations. Rivalries have always existed throughout tennis history, and I think we play a fundamental role in the appeal of our sport. That's why I'm glad to know that I am developing that kind of relationship with Carlos. The mutual respect is genuine." Alcaraz said, "Jannik and I have been on the circuit since we were young and we know each other's games perfectly. There is almost nothing to hide on the court. Jannik is a player practically without weaknesses. He is powerful in attack, and his defense is incredibly fast and stable." He added, "He completely dominated the 2025 season, winning 2 Grand Slams, the ATP Finals, and remaining in the fight for world number 1 until the end. Playing well against him is not enough. You have to maintain concentration throughout the entire match, and there is no room for complacency. He is a player against whom you must give 100% from the first point to the last in order to have a chance to win." Sinner returned the compliment. "He is one of the best players on the current circuit, perhaps even the best. Playing against him is always a challenge, but it is also very fun. Every match has a completely different story and rhythm, which makes it even more exciting. He is incredibly fast, so it is difficult to get past him at any point on the court. Additionally, he is very strong mentally, playing every point as if it were the last. This level of mutual respect and acknowledgement of each other's strengths is exactly what the ATP should be celebrating and promoting. Instead, they're financially penalizing both players for not showing up to every single Masters 1000 event, regardless of the reasons. Alcaraz has been particularly criticized for playing so many exhibition matches while also complaining about the demanding calendar. But he's defended this by explaining that exhibitions are opportunities to assess his physical condition. This kind of match is a great opportunity to assess my physical condition and feel better before the Australian Open. Having the opportunity to play in front of Korean fans is incredibly motivating. Also, playing in a new environment helps me tremendously in my preparation for the season. The Australian Open is Alcaraz's main objective for early 2026 because it's the only Grand Slam he hasn't won. He's got the French Open, Wimbledon, and US Open. Australia is the missing piece for the career Grand Slam. At 22 years old, completing that achievement would be historic. The pressure on that tournament is enormous. Everyone knows it's the one he's missing. The ATP's financial penalties add another layer to that pressure. He's not just playing for the title and the career slam, he's also playing to prove that missing a few Masters 1000 events doesn't diminish what he's accomplished. Alcaraz's off-court activities have kept him in the headlines. He attended a Miami Heat NBA game and received a jersey from the mascot. Then he went to an Inter-Miami MLS match where Lionel Messi plays. He was on the pitch exchanging greetings with Messi, Luis Suarez, Sergio Busquets, and Jordi Alba. He received a special Inter-Miami jersey with number 99. Inter-Miami won 5-1 that day, reaching the MLS Cup final. Alcaraz called it a very beautiful experience. These celebrity-athlete interactions are good for his brand and keep him visible during the off-season. But they also raise questions about priorities when he's supposedly preparing for the Australian Open. The ATP's warning to both Alcaraz and Sinner through financial penalties is already showing signs of backfiring. Both players are motivated, both are healthy heading into Melbourne, and both have made it clear they understand the significance of their rivalry to tennis. Penalizing them for not playing every Masters 1000 event when they're the two players driving the sport's popularity and excitement seems short-sighted at best. The instant regret from ATP officials might not be public yet, but it's coming. When Alcaraz and Sinner dominate the Australian Open in the rest of 2026, when their rivalry continues generating unprecedented interest in men's tennis, when casual fans tune in specifically to watch them compete, the ATP will realize that punishing your two biggest stars for schedule management decisions was a terrible miscalculation. The ATP penalized Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner financially for missing Masters 1000 tournaments, and now both are heading into the Australian Open with extra motivation to prove the punishment was unjust. Docking pay from your two biggest stars while they dominate the sport is questionable strategy. If you think the ATP is making a massive mistake here, hit that like button and subscribe for more tennis analysis. Because when your penalties backfire and motivate champions, that's instant regret waiting to happen.